and welcome to the HFP podcast telecast thing, Journey of Conquest, Mortal Kombat Conquest. We're going through Mortal Kombat Conquest episode by episode and doing a little podcast, just recording ourselves talking about each episode. This week this is our 6th episode, but it's episode 7 because we did a double bill in the first episode, you lucky things. I'm now rambling on because Tom has an idea for an intro and he's told me to ramble on.
You keep rambling.
We
had a whole episode on this last week. Just ask for help, man. Just ask for help. No need to stop asking for help after 1 week. The whole episode last week was all about asking for help. You don't fucking ask for help. What the fuck?
And that would be the intro.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. For a weekend, I had a dream about this episode last night.
Nice.
Not the episode of Mortal Kombat Conquest, our episode recording it. And it was really, really weird. We'd recorded it and we put it up. And neither of us realised that I had used a very serious racial slur. And it was only when my girlfriend listened to it that she then was like, you said this word. And I said, no, I didn't. And then played it. And then I had to get in touch with you. And then we took the video down, but someone else had the video and had uploaded it. And then everyone hated us.
Yeah.
That was a dream. That was a dream. We're not doing this. Just no. Just no. Yeah, right. So this episode was called Debt of the Dragon. What did you think? Remember big things at the end, but little taste before we go into the through line. What did you think, Thomas?
Right. Overall, it was okay. This was like a week ago when I actually watched this, because we cancelled last week. But from what I remember of it, like, it did the whole music thing again. Like, on the technical level, it just seemed to like forget that what all it had learnt from the, basically the whole episode is about forgetting everything from the episode before, from what I can tell. Both in the acting and the technical side and the actual story. It's just forgotten. So it's like, all their mistakes are just like, ignore those.
It's almost as if they recorded them out of order.
Yeah. I can imagine that episode being recorded beforehand. Or at least edited beforehand.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. When this episode began, I hated it. And then we'll see how I felt at the end. Right, shall we get into what happens and how it happens?
So Sam has notes, so hopefully he'll be more accurate than me.
I have notes. Tom watched it a week ago and didn't bother refreshing. So if Tom's crap on this...
I'm watching 2 fucking episodes because you cancelled because you're ill. Fuck that. I have to watch it twice.
Refresh, you just put it on in the background. Right, so we start in a market. And I actually have to disagree with you on this point. Because like last week, when it's the market, there were extras milling around and the lighting. I actually thought... this looks good.
Yeah.
Once again, it feels much bigger than it is. They've used whatever small studio recording space they had well, and I liked the look. I was like, this is looking good. And we go into Kung Lao talking to a monk. It's the Shaolin temple style orangey monk stuff. And the monk is trying to do a deal with Zero, and Zero is basically like, no, I want this, and the monk's telling Kung Lao, like, we're trying to do a deal, but it's not going well. And then Kung Lao's like, Zero, don't rip the monk off. And Zero's like, well, it's business. And then he's like, fine, you can have everything you want plus this. And then the monk, business savvy, goes, also this saffron. Which, I don't know, like, what saffron was worth back then, but now, like, saffron would probably be worth more than the rest of the deal combined, because saffron, like, that's more expensive than gold, or it used to be. I don't know if it still is.
I don't know.
Crazy commodity. It's one of those, like...
I know that you have, like, the jars of saffron, and they give you the same size jar as every other one, but you can't see the saffron inside, because it's, like, a dot.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the fucking point in this jar?
Saffron is, like, really valuable. It's something to do with it comes from is it a lotus flower? It's some flower in India, and and the monk seems very happy at his business savvy getting the saffron and walks away, and then Kung Lao is like, good job, Zero, and Zero's like, doesn't matter, we're still going to make double that on the market. Commerce. And just sort of laughs to himself, and Kung Lao isn't impressed. And then a woman called Jola comes in. We don't know her name's Jola at this point. All we know is that she's a woman. She speaks with a slight foreign accent. I think like Eastern European Russian, kind of that abrupt, short English. I'm just going to suggest Tom close the window because I think something might be happening outside that might eventually make noise on the recording. So that was the sound of a window being shut. Leaving this in, just going to roll with it. And she has with her some ninjas who are all clad. She's all clad in black.
Yeah.
Except face showing. And once again, it's like if you're a boss, you show your face, and if you're a minion, you don't. And she has basically ninjas around her with red masks. And she's basically like, we are on this trading post now. Because it's a trading post that Zero and Kung Lao.
Well, like before,
and
I think they're like, oh, we're closed, you can't look around. And she's like, it's not closed. And he's like, yeah, it's closed. It's like, my fucking trading post.
Yeah, they claim to be the Black Dragon.
Yeah.
Now, if you're up on your Mortal Kombat gaming history and stuff, Black Dragon is significant. They're an important group of basic jobbers that you're going to beat.
Yeah.
Think Kano level fighters and stuff. And Kung Lao's like, you don't own it, and this causes a fight.
Yeah.
Now, what's cool about this fight is 2 of the ninjas have crossbows and are on a ledge, and Zero rope swings over and like kicks them both down, like Indiana Jones styles it. Really, really cool. And then they have this fight. Now, again, I have to disagree because this fight was actually put together quite well. It involved knives and weapons, and I could follow exactly how many he was fighting. Kung Lao is the guy fighting with knives, and I thought it was quite nice paced. Where I do agree with you though was the music.
Yeah.
Oh god, this music. So we've gone from just like your bassy da da da. Now we're in like techno or trance or house because there was this
and none of it matched anything.
No, it didn't match. It didn't cope with anything, and it was more distracting and more noticeable than anything that happened in the fight. Which again, it's a fight with ninjas and knives. This should have been the best fight yet, and it looked good. It was followable, but that fucking sound, man! It was like through your skull penetrating, just nasty. And as is with all Mortal Kombat Conquest early fights, it ends in basically a stalemate.
Yeah.
The ninjas basically get their ass kicked, and then the woman just leaves.
Well, her brother turns up.
Oh, no, shit, her brother turns up. We don't know it's her brother. He has a cool tattoo.
Yeah.
And that actually leads me to a good quote. He's like, stop fighting. And she reveals his name to be Cabral. But I think his name's meant to be Cable, or Cabal, because that's a Mortal Kombat name. Yeah. But I think she just said Cabral. She doesn't actually say his name again. I was listening out for it. And she says to him, this is my fight. And he says, and he's like quite laid back, cool, quite chilled out. He just says, yes, it has your work. It looks like your work. Which I was like, that's quite a nice little. There's some nice dialogue there. Well played. And he orders them all back. So they don't just leave. He comes in, but they are getting their ass kicked, the Black Dragon ninjas, by Kung Lao and Zero. And he pulls them all back. And then Zero and Kung Lao just sort of watch them go. Yeah. And Zero says, we have to stop them. And Kung Lao's reply is great. He's just, why? They're gone. Yeah. Raiden's rubbing up on Kung Lao. And then we go to the ninja house.
Yeah.
Which is like every other ninja house that you've seen. Oh no, I'm sorry, we don't. There's one more line Zero like sells about how the Black Dragon are really important, and he's scared, and Kung Lao just doesn't really.
You can't ever pay off the Black Dragon or some shit.
Kung Lao's like,
if you pay them off, then you're screwed. Or something.
That comes more into it later. Or at this moment, it's just Kung Lao's never heard of the Black Dragon, and Zero's like, the Black Dragon, they're really dangerous. We should do something about them. And Kung Lao's like, nah, fighting. Yeah, it's not really our thing. You're gonna hear some paper rustling soon. Because I got to turn my notes over. So now we go to the hiding place, which is like generic hiding place number 9. I'm pretty sure it was the Emperor's like temple from episode 1. Yeah. It's a guy in a chair, slightly raised up, people around.
Yeah, for me it was either the Emperor's chamber. Yeah. Or it was the cave from like 2 episodes ago that had Noob Saibot in it. Just with a chair added to that bit.
Yeah. It's like round, dark.
That,
It looks like it's cavey from the sides. There's torches. There's light, like a studio light down in the middle to illuminate whoever's sat in the middle area. And we get this, like, he's the dad. basically, and he's sort of like, why did you attack this place, da da da, and it starts an argument between the guy and the girl, who, this is when we find out that Cabal and Jola are brother and sister, and they're talking about the future of the Black Dragon, etc, etc, and this led to one of those dialogue minutes that's like really dumb. So the whole like story here is that the Black Dragon used to be this massive, feared, terrible organization.
Yeah.
Basically a mafia for ninjas, I think, is the vibe.
Basically.
And they're not anymore. They're not as feared. People are standing up to them more, and one of the reasons is they lend people money and they don't kill them or whatever for debt. So the daughter Jola is like, we should use the Black Dragon powers, because apparently they used to have these Black Dragon powers. And her father says, my father, your grandfather, used those powers, and I watched them waste him away. Yeah. He wasn't even a skeleton by the end of it. We're not doing that. And Jola's reply is, old tales. Yeah. Now, it was your grandfather. That's not that old a tale. No. Like, that's really not an old tale. That's like, you're talking to an eyewitness. That's a primary tale.
You probably saw it yourself when you were a child and you just didn't realise.
Yeah. I'd say probably the age gap between her and her father is like 30 years.
Yeah.
So, at most, it could be like maybe 40, 50 years ago, if her father like was a child when he watched his dad get killed by these Black Dragon powers. But that's as old as it can be. Yeah. He saw it happen. There will probably be more veteran older ninjas who know and have seen like these Black Dragon powers. That's not an old tale. Like, there's just a bad line. Yeah. But at this point, I am really hating on this episode and Jola. I thought the Black Dragon, the actors were very... it's like, he's an old man and that's it. Yeah. Her brother, like, he's more chilled out and he gets a few lines. That's it. Jola's just this angry kind of... I think they're going for, like, you know, the dominative Russian kind of female character. That's it. I wasn't that into any of this.
One of the problems I had with this episode is, like, on the acting level, is at times I wasn't actually sure it was necessarily bad acting, so much as that they're like, just 90% of it was just rushes. Like, the other person wasn't in the room at the same time as saying the lines, and they don't match.
When we use film terms, we'll explain. A rush is when you record someone saying their lines.
Yeah, it's like a specific line that you know you need in a certain shot. You don't. It's generally like a close up. You don't have the other person about, so they don't always match. But it means you know you've got that shot. But it felt like normally you would sneak that in naturally when it fits.
You would edit it.
But they didn't feel that way at all.
You probably wouldn't lip sync a rush unless you have someone directly like watching themselves say a line back. But you would record key lines and make sure you've got clean plates of those lines that you can insert in wherever. It could be that. It could well be like there was no one else in the room and they did it like Robert Rodriguez style. But I wasn't sure. Now we go back to the gang, and this is where I really start to hate this episode. They start tidying. They're basically just tidying up from this fight, even though the fight mainly didn't seem to do much damage. I think one guy went through a table. I was distracted by this piercing noise in my skull, so I didn't actually... But yeah, and Ciro's like, I want to fight the Black Dragon. They're like, crap. Yeah. Taja's like, I don't really know what to do. Like, whatever you think. And Kung Lao is like, violence isn't the way. Kill it. If we kill them, they're just going to kill another one. Yeah. There's no point in that. Let's just pay him off. Screw it. And Ciro and Kung Lao get into a massive argument. And why I hate this was, last week, Ciro and Kung Lao got into an argument. And then Kung Lao bought Ciro a knife. Yeah. And then they were like buddies by the end. Ciro asked for help. And he was really, like, if you remember, Kung Lao and Taja, it was actually 2 weeks ago, not last week, but the last episode, Kung Lao and Taja thought Ciro would have gone to the big enemy Noob Saibot, ran after him, and then Ciro turned up to save the day and was like, why would I run without help? You're all about the help. So it's like this is a long series. There's like 20-some episodes, I think, in one season. So they clearly didn't like film and write everything together. But this is one of those where it's like there's no continuity here. And some of the best, like, I've seen good TV shows that can have 20-something episodes and know and can reference what's happened before. And so Buffy used to be really good at that. But this wasn't doing that. So that was annoying. Then we go on a street and we get Jola again, the ninja woman. And she meets... I'd basically describe him as a Mortal Kombat equivalent of a hobo.
Yeah.
He's got like a raggedy beard, a sort of scruffy kind of scarf hat, which is a bit like an African traditional headscarf thing. And he's talking about his shipment while holding up chains and saying he needed slaves. And Jola's like, you're not getting your shipment, da-da-da-da, but I need you to open a portal. And the guy's like, I needed slaves for the portal. And Jola's like, well, just open the portal. So he just opens the portal.
Yeah.
So what the slaves had to do with any of it, I don't know. And when I saw portal, I was starting like, okay, maybe this will get a little better. Cut. It got a lot better. We get Vorpix basically pushing Jola.
Yeah.
We're in Shang Tsung in the Cobalt Mines. Vorpix pushes Jola in front of Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
Shang Tsung sat being Shang Tsung with that smile on his face. Every scene lights up. My face lights up when Shang Tsung's on screen. And basically Vorpix is like, you should just kill her. And Shang Tsung's like, I could kill you. And Jola asks like to Shang Tsung, do you remember me? And Jola says, I remember your father betraying me. And then Jola replies, yes, right just after you'd shared my bed. So it's like, it'd be pretty shit if he didn't remember you, considering you guys had sex and then his father betrayed him. You gotta be confident to go back here, type thing. And Shang Tsung got laid with Jola, and then I looked at Jola differently. I was like, you've slept with Shang Tsung, maybe you're not all bad. And then Jola's like, I want to awaken these dragon powers, completely ignoring her dad's old man tale that he witnessed her granddad die from these fucking powers. And Shang Tsung is very clear about this. I will give you the powers, but you have to kill someone.
Yeah.
And she's like, who? And he says, Kung Lao.
Yeah.
And then Jola starts laughing. But she does that laugh. Like, it's a forced laugh anyway. But it's, like, I don't think this was intentional, but it ended up being one of those scenes where someone laughs and no one else is laughing. But the person who's laughing, like, notices people aren't laughing but carries on laughing anyway. It felt like that scene. Even though I'm not sure it was deliberate, but Jola's just like, oh, I totally want to kill him. He's my sworn enemy anyway. Yeah. I'm surprised that they had that much time to make him sworn enemy. And she also is like, oh, he's the guy that defeated you in Mortal Kombat. Ha ha ha. Which leads me again to the thing. Everyone knows Kung Lao is like this hero fighting for Earth. Like, literally, he is the barrier between the destruction of everything and not. Yeah. And yet they're constantly working against him for the guy that wants to destroy them. It's like
the place they live. Yeah, the place they can survive.
Yeah.
It's like, apocalypse. We'd rather have that than Kung Lao.
Yeah. And sometimes I could understand that. If you're like an immortal old lady witch person, maybe like the Hell Realm and all that magic really has something for you. Or if you're Noob Saibot, some crazy like immortal ninja goof thing, maybe like it doesn't really matter what the realm is, you just exist. Yeah. But if you're just a human ninja, pretty sure it matters that your realm doesn't get destroyed. So Shang like sends Vorpix. Vorpix is like, I don't trust her, and then Shang has this great line where he's like, I don't trust you either. What's the difference? And she just walks off in a huff. So then Shang's like, back you go, sends Jola back through the portal. And then Vorpix comes back into the room almost immediately. I think Shang actually calls Vorpix and goes, did you hear everything from your little rat hole? And Vorpix is like, yeah. And that's that. Now we go back to Kung Lao and Zero.
I just want to like mention a little bit about that scene. Absolutely. The only thing that bugged me about that scene, right? Mm-hmm. So Vorpix is stood there with Shang Tsung and Jola, right? And basically they have like 99% of the conversation about like that shit, and then Shang Tsung sends Vorpix away. She like walks off, but he sort of sends her away at the same time. It's a bit iffy on whether it was her choice or his. After saying they don't trust her, and then when he sends Jola back, calls Vorpix back and goes, "Did you hear that?" So all of your conversation was while she was stood next to you. Like, she's walked away for like 2 seconds. Basically, what she missed was go through the portal. Yeah. Like, did you hear that? Yeah, I did. From like there.
Yeah. But that's the kind. Right. So there were like bad lines and dumb lines. That's so dumb. I kind of love it. And like, The actor who plays Shang Tsung is so energetic, and the actress who plays Vorpix is so good as that kind of over the top female. She's Rita from Power Rangers level of like just the light in her own evilness.
Yeah.
That it works when those two have bad like scenes, but when it's like new characters like the Black Dragon earlier, it just kills me. Like it's a different like thing. But now the episode starts to get a bit. This is where my interest actually I didn't realise, but I was starting to get into the story here. So we go back to Kung Lao and Zero. And Zero, like, he's sort of like, we should fight, and Kung Lao is like, I don't want to fight, we should pay them off, killing's not the answer. And they're arguing again, blah blah blah. They pull the door, Zero pulls the front door open, and the monk from earlier is dead. Basically nailed or stuck to the door with a note saying, one will die each day. And then Zero's like, we super need to fight. And Kung Lao is like, what? We kill one of them? And Zero's like, yes. Everyone they kill, we kill one. And Kung Lao's like, logically he's then like, well, what if they kill two? Then we have to kill two. Then it's just the cycle of killing never ends. And Zero is just like, I hate you, and storms off to go fight himself. Then we go to the Black Dragon meeting room. This was like really, like, I liked how this was done. The head guy sat in his chair, and he's got like a cup bearer with him. He says, bring me another glass of wine. The cup bearer like takes a few steps, so he's just enough away, and you hear him scream and fall. And then you get like, it's a close up, so you just see a hand holding out a cup of wine. The father guy goes to take the cup of wine, and you see a knife raised behind him, and then it plunges in a bunch of times. You don't see who does the stabbing. You don't see who was holding the cup of wine. It was nice. It was quick. It was pacey. It had the Mortal Kombat music in the background. The non-invasive like goes with the tempo and makes me feel more hyped. I liked this. I like that moment. And then we get like everything goes up to 11. Kung Lao is just walking, and then you get like a whoosh, and Raiden appears behind him. Fucking Raiden. And Raiden's just like, so this isn't going well. And Kung Lao's like, we got to fight. And I don't want to fight. And Raiden's like, well, Zero wants to fight. You might want to fight. And Kung Lao's like, I'm not sure what to do. And Raiden's like, well, I'm a god, so I just kick the hell out of them myself. But I can do that sort of thing, like really winding him up. And Kung Lao's like, I don't want to fight. But Raiden's like, sometimes you have to fight for defense. And this is before the invasion of Iraq, so we're already hardline America, core justice, go to war to prevent war and all that dumb shit. So Raiden basically is like, you should fight. And then we go back to the Black Dragon meeting room, and Jolo and her brother actually have like a pretty cool argument, and they're like, we know who killed him, it's Kung Lao or Zero or whoever, and then the brother's like, I'm in charge now, we're going to meet them and talk to them. And Jolo's like, we should fight them. And the brother's like, I don't want to fight them. We're not that group anymore. We should at least talk to them first and see what happened. And I actually liked where this was heading. I was like, okay, this is feeding on the early stuff. And I know now, like, I'm starting to get an idea of who everyone is and stuff. And then I thought this was a nice touch. We get Taja, who isn't really in this episode much. She returns home, and Zero is cleaning a knife. And I don't think it was the knife that Kung Lao bought last week. I didn't bother to go back and check. Did you check?
It was a different knife.
It was a different knife.
It was all like, because it had like some. What I think the knife was is because there's another one that's very similar to it later. I think he's cleaning the knife that was stuck for the monk on the door. I think he's like taking that knife and he's fucking cleaning it like a fucking weirdo. But
see, maybe it was just me then. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit. But I thought this was the first time I'd seen subtlety in Konquest, in that there was sort of a hint that Zero had been the one who killed the father. And when Taja asked him how he'd been, he was like, I was out, I had something to do, or I had someone to see. And he sort of grimaced himself, and it was like, it wasn't overt, but there was this suggestion that maybe he's the one who killed the old man, and I quite like this. And then they open the door and they find another knife on the door, and this has a note saying, we want to meet you, Kung Lao. So Zero goes, because
that's the other knife that looks like the one that he had, which I think it might have been the monk one.
Right. Zero and like the brother Cabral meet, and it's a bit weird because they start and they're sort of talking, and Zero's like, he's like, my father's dead, and Zero's like, I don't really care, again, not confirming if he's killed him or not. And then the brother just has a guy fight Zero. And Zero fights... he fights two guys with sticks.
Yeah.
Which I love being able to say that sentence. He fights two ninjas armed with sticks. This is a good show. Well, you get ninjas with fucking sticks. Yeah. These are like red hooded ninja dudes in black. Zero wins.
Yeah. And for once, Zero actually uses his weapon, which is nice. Yeah. He gets one of the sticks off him. Yeah. Kicks their ass with it.
Remember when he had a sword?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gone. Zero wins, and then there's a really nice touch. Like Zero starts charging towards like the brother, and the brother starts going, "Are you ready to talk now?" And instantly Zero like punches him, but they cut it like Zero punched the TV screen, and you hear like a poof.
Yeah.
And then you wake up, the brother wakes up, and he is tied down, and there is a pendulum trap, an axe, like down from the ceiling, swinging back and forth, lowering slowly towards him while Zero interrogates him. And I was like, this is getting pretty fucking dark. Zero's like, who do you work for? Who are the Black Dragon? Da da da. And then he's like, what are the names of your warriors? He won't tell him the names. He's like, who killed the monk? My sister. And he's like, oh, you'll reveal your sister then. Zero's like really laying it on strong, and the pendulum's getting slightly lower. And then Kung Lao walks in and is just like, no, this isn't happening. What the fuck are you doing? Yeah. They have a little back and forth, and then Kung Lao takes a knife, and Zero's like, that's right, kill him. But then Kung Lao lets the brother go, and he was like, Zero, did you really think, did you think when he took the knife after debating with you how you shouldn't kill anyone that he really was going to go like, oh yeah, you're right, and just kill the dude? Fucking idiot, man. So then Zero is like, why'd you let him go? Da da da. Kung Lao and Zero get into quite a heated debate, and Raiden appears.
Yeah.
He's watching them, and Zero's like, I'm going off, I'm going to fight them and kill them. And Raiden says this thing about like Taja's gone, she doesn't know what she wants to do. Taja's gone, she wants to make peace and pay them. Kung Lao, you're not really sure. Zero, you want to fight them. Who's right? And it's like,
the other way around.
No. Raiden says it the wrong way round.
Does he say it the wrong way round?
He says it the wrong way round. He says it as if Taja's as if Taja is one side on Kung Lao's shoulder telling him we should pay them, and Zero's on the other side saying we should fight them. But it's the other way around. Yeah. Taja has I don't know what to do, you guys sort it out. Zero's the one urging, and Kung Lao's the one holding back, saying...
I thought you would say it right, because later on he says to, a little bit just before he leaves, he's just like, and you should get Taja to pick a side, or something like that. Yeah. So I thought that would make sense, but I must have just missed that.
No, Raiden said it wrong. I went back and I watched the line a second time just to double check that he'd said it in that order, because it's the wrong order. Yeah. But then Raiden saves the day, because Zero's like, I'm going off to fight them and nothing can stop me, not even you, Thunder God. And Raiden just smiles and goes, oh, you want to die today, Zero? the inference being, I'll kill you, dude. And Zero, the actor, he plays it because he sort of backs off a little bit. And then Raiden, he does this weird thing where he sort of tells them, look, you need to get your act together, you need to be united, da da da. But also, if you go fight the Black Dragon now, you'll be destroyed. Yeah. Just so you know. Which is well, why didn't you just tell them not to fight them then? If they're going to be destroyed by them, why, why tell them? And then Zero's, just announces he didn't kill the father. Yeah. And he's like, I didn't kill him. And now we go to Shang Tsung. And Jola has joined Shang Tsung in the Cobalt Mines again. And he's like, did you bring me the medallion? Where the fuck did this medallion come from?
See, there's one line that would mention that that's where it's meant to come from. Mm-hmm. Because I'm pretty sure it comes from her dad. Her dad had the medallion. Yeah. Right. And the one line is, just before she leaves, and he goes, oh, and there's the other thing. But it was never explained what the other thing is. She could have come back with anything. It's was this the other thing?
Yeah.
So you know what the other thing is.
Yeah. They make no point about this medallion at all. And then he uses the medallion, Shang Tsung, and he turns Jola into, for some reason, the way this Black Dragon power manifests itself is your clothes change to skimpy fighters.
Yeah.
So
after very quickly being having the head of a dragon appear on you.
Yes.
And sort of the arms, but half human, half dragon arms.
It was a nice effect.
Yeah, it was a thing.
Yeah. She like her hair is no longer in a ponytail. It's down. She does look very different with her hair down. It's like a silky, skimpy crop top, and
basically
and very short shorts. And I gotta say, at this point, I was into this. Like, not Jola as in sex subject, but as in I was like, she's like the psycho killer. She's now got the power. Da da da. Zero and everyone riding. We're getting plenty of riding scenes. Shang Tsung's been in twice now. He's awesome both times. The episode, like, because of how shit the beginning was, but where it was building, like, by this point I was like, I actually want to see the end here. And it was at this point I became aware there was probably like 5-10 minutes left at most. So I was sort of like, is this going to be a two-parter? Almost like, I was a bit like, how are they going to do this? Basically, Kung Lao tells Zero he's going to give it up to the Black Dragon.
Yeah.
And then we get Jola appearing to her brother in her new costume. Her brother doesn't remark on it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm in charge now. And Jola's like, oh yeah, kills him.
Yeah.
Basically, there's a few more lines.
Dragon hand
it's not
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Jola attacks the trading post. It's sort of like fireballs, but like streamer fires, like a small torrent of fire that
Well, her hands turns into a dragon head when she throws out the punch. And then you do like a flamethrower. Yeah.
And she's like breathing fire at them, and Kung Lao and Zero are like trying to fight her, and dodging fire is most of how you fight someone. But then Jola's like, what's happening? And then like goes on her knees.
Yeah.
And holds her tummy, which was a bit like, oh. And then like a portal opens and she just gets dragged through.
Yeah.
And then she's in front of Shang Tsung and Vorpix, who are both basically just laughing at her and saying like, idiot, you can't even use the power. And Jola's like, what happened? And Shang's like, that power, like, you were inches away from death, I just saved your life. Yeah. And Jola's like, I had them, even though she was trying to use her power and it wasn't, and then holding her stomach, like her stomach was dying.
Yeah.
And then Shang Tsung's like, yeah, you're mine now. You live in the mines with me. And Jola's like, but... And Shang Tsung's like, no buts.
Yeah.
You're mine.
Yeah. There's a little line just before that I really like that's part of that.
Yeah.
She's like, but I have the power of the Black Dragon or something like that. And he just goes, you think it's your power? It's my power. You're mine.
yeah, basically, like, you're an idiot. You're mine.
Yeah, it's like,
into the mines. Yeah. I hope they bring it back. Don't know if they will.
I assume they must do. For like a short moment, because like Shang Tsung always does the same thing of, if you don't get me the soul of Kung Lao, then I'll just take your soul. I thought he was going to take her soul, and that was going to be his, I'm taking the power, it's my power type thing. But then he was just like, no, I'm going to teach you how to use it so that you're fucking useful.
Maybe. Yeah. That basically gets left there. Basically, she used to now stay in the mines with him.
Yeah.
And then we get Kung Lao and Zero for the second week in a row having a little bromance moment of, hey, I'm sorry, I'm sorry we fought, da-da-da. And then Raiden just appears in the room, and then Zero says to him, do you ever use the door? And Raiden just goes, probably not.
Yeah.
Right, so you've sorted that out, but there's more fights to come.
Yeah. There's tiny extra bits of that though. He's like, do you ever use the door? Probably not. Would you? No. So if you had this power, would you use the door? No.
And Raiden's then like, wow, like, you actually listened to me, and look, it actually works.
Yeah.
Like, even though listening to them was, if you fight the Black Dragon, you'll die. So they didn't go to fight the Black Dragon, but ended up fighting Jola as the Black Dragon anyway, and only because she's crap with her powers did they survive.
Yeah. Essentially, his message was, you've got to work together whichever way you go, or you've got no chance. But you'll probably die if you fight them. And then, yeah. But
like, it's sort of like working together when there's a big horrible thing fighting you, like Noob Saibot last week, you were an oozy black liquidy guy. Yeah. That was not a racial slur. Or like a fire breathing dragon headed fist lady.
Yeah.
Probably quite easy to say like, okay, my survival probably helped these two.
Yeah.
But it's all the other times where they don't work together that I think is the issue. But anyway, so Raiden's just like, he's sort of just like, you guys are idiots, you jerks. Anyway, I'm off. Then he uses the door by clicking his finger, and the doors fly open, and he just walks out into the night, and then like clicks again, and the doors close behind him. So he did use the door. I like joke, funny reply, payoff.
Yeah.
I was like, well played, and that's the end.
Yeah.
They just stand there, and then we get the Mortal Kombat, and the credits for Mortal Kombat are longer now. The end credits have increased in length by about 30 seconds.
Yeah. Which I would have noticed if I ever bothered watching credits.
They're basically, it's just slightly more footage, I think. So, what did you think of this episode?
So as I say, like, I was fine with it, like, story-wise and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't like that you had the stupid repeat, which was part of my intro. And the music in conversations and in the battles was horribly off again. Like, you just had some jarring, like, music coming in at times.
I've got to say, the battle with Joel, I didn't mention it, was alright. Like, I thought it was, again, they've gone really... they've really scaled back on the cuts and the close-ups into wides to close-ups, which helps with it. And I actually thought the music for that one was alright because I didn't really notice it.
The acting, as I say, all felt like rushes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was fine with the story, but every single line of Zero's cut with Kung Lao's were on such huge fucking different ranges that it was very distracting at times. Zero's having this massive argument and Kung Lao's just like, yeah, cool.
Like I said, when it started, I thought it was really bad.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the first time I'm gonna like hate this show, which like it's 90s and awesome, and I love it for its cheese, but like it's a sincere, when it's good, it's like a sincere kind of failing. You know, like an idiot trying to be fun and just enjoy himself. And sometimes it feels like it's smart people being lazy, which is the worst kind of thing. But then as it got going, I got more into it. There was something about the story and the ridiculousness and how they kept it going that just worked for me. And the Shang Tsung and Raiden scenes, I just think those two characters really make... Every scene they're in, those two, they get funny lines, they get quips, they're nothing more. It's not a show where you'd expect any character development, but the kind of regression of, like, we're going to do Kung Lao and Zero, dissension, and we're going to do that again the next week is like, that's a really bad like, that's beyond the levels of you can get away with this to the you're annoying me now. But overall, I actually really enjoyed this episode. I'd say overall it came off one of the best, because as it built up and went along, it just became fun again. I can't really explain it better than that. The acting, some of the acting was better, some of it's worse. Like Cyril, Kung Lao and Tad. Kung Lao is a really good actor. He comes off as a really good actor. He's a good leading guy. I sympathise with him. Taja is kept to a minimum, and that's fine because she played the Terminator X TX thing in Terminator 3, so she can do one. And Cyril is Cyril. But I did actually like Jola as a villain. I thought she was a good villain. But one thing I've like noticed now we're 7 episodes in, is this is Mortal Kombat, famed for its violence, gore and blood. I wasn't expecting so much violence and gore because it is a TV show. But no one's dying. Like, Jola was totally a throwaway, you know, the Black Dragon's the Black Dragon. Like, that's a group that's going to continue. But Jola, unless I'm missing something, is not a character from the main game. And this is going to be set way before the main game anyway. So, why not just have her die? Like, Noob Saibot, he died, but he didn't. Neither of like the witches, sorcerer people have died. Basically, no one
with more than like 4 lines ever dies.
Right. There are 2 professions in Mortal Kombat Conquest that you should avoid at all costs: Shang Tsung minion, or monk. Those will get you killed. Nothing else. Like, we've had monks waste away to nothing and die. No one else. No, like we will get these named characters build up, but none of them will die.
Well, you got this the Cabal guy or Cable or whatever he's...
Was he a villain? I don't
That's what I mean. Like, he had lines. He's the closest thing to anyone dying. The father died, but I can't remember the father's lines. I know he had lines. Don't know what he looked like.
But I'm talking about in the fights. So Mortal Kombat, what is it? It's a beat 'em up game series. What happens in those fights? Fatality is the iconic thing. You beat your opponent, and then you did some awful, horrible, disgusting, brutal move that was clear murder. And sometimes that would involve someone turning into a dragon or slicing a guy up or whatever. And there's none of that. There's none of these fights leading to death. Every single fight has led to this person gets away because of this, or if the heroes get beaten up, they get saved by something. And that's like, that's where it's like weird to me that Mortal Kombat does that, because there are so many other shows that had death, or at least would have, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I know it's not quite a fair comparison, but I think they were around roughly the same time. One of my criticisms of Buffy was like, apart from the big villain which would die at the end of the season, every monster died at the end of every episode, so you had to constantly find new enemies. In Mortal Kombat Conquest, we have a rogues gallery, we have a roster now. We have Sub-Zero, Noob Saibot, Scorpion, 2 witches, Katana, who obviously just have to survive, Vorpix, Shang Tsung, and the Emperor.
What happened to Scorpion? Didn't he fall in a hole?
He was dragged back down to hell. Yeah.
So he's not dead, he's just in hell.
No, but I could accept like Sub-Zero not dying, Scorpion not dying, because like they're characters who are going to come back. I can accept like Shang Tsung and the Emperor have to be around for the game if you want to position your TV show to be canon, which I don't think they're really doing. No. But not having like Jola was perfect to have her die at the end. Yeah. That's like, you know, okay, that was that episode. Done. Yeah. You know, and if they bring her back, fair enough. I don't know if they will or not. Because remember, we only have 1 season. Jem did die, you're right.
Yeah. And then I completely forgot about her.
Yeah.
I wondered who the fuck Chen was.
Yeah. Right, yeah. So, next week, I didn't even look at the name for next week's episode. No. So, hopefully next week we'll get another episode uploaded.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat Conquest. Oh, and if you've listened to this point, Saz, we have a film assistant called Saz who's just disappeared randomly on us.
Yeah.
Let us know that you're alive. Right, we're done.
Right.
In a bit.
Bye.
Bye.